On the set of The Magnificent Seven, tensions ran high between YUL BRYNNER and Steve McQUEEN, leading to a near blow-up that almost disrupted filming. The film, a classic 1960s Western directed by John Sturges, featured a star-studded cast including Brynner, McQueen, Eli Wallach, Charles Bronson, Robert Vaughn, Brad Dexter, James Coburn, and Horst Buchholz. Despite their professional collaboration, disagreements over scenes, decisions, and personalities boiled over during the hectic filming schedule. Brynner's authoritative presence contrasted with McQueen's rebellious attitude, fueling clashes that nearly turned physical. Crew members watched anxiously as the tension escalated, fearing it would delay production or cause permanent rifts. Yet, eventually, they managed to patch things up, and the film continued smoothly. Their intense interactions added a layer of authenticity and passion to the movie, which remains one of the most popular westerns ever shown on television. If you haven't seen The Magnificent Seven on the big screen during the 60s, chances are you've watched it multiple times on TV since then. Many people may not realize that the famous 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven has actually been remade several times over the years. Each remake brought new touches and updates to the story, but the original film remains a classic in Western cinema. Interestingly, the story behind The Magnificent Seven traces back further than its Western setting. It was actually a remake of a Japanese film called Seven Samurai, made in 1954. The Japanese movie is set in the year 1586 during a time called the Warring States period of Japanese history. It tells the story of a small village of farmers who are struggling under the threat of bandits. These bandits come back repeatedly to take their crops and threaten their very survival. To defend themselves, the villagers hire 7 samurai warriors. These warriors are brave and skilled fighters who agree to help the villagers protect their homes and harvests. The story focuses on how the samurai work together, face danger, and fight to save the village from the bandits. When Hollywood turned this story into The Magnificent Seven, they set it in the American West, where a group of 7 gunmen are hired to protect the town from outlaws. Despite the change in setting, the core story about brave fighters defending innocent people remains the same. Over the years, there have been several remakes of The Magnificent Seven, each adding new characters and twists, but all following the basic idea that a small group of heroes can make a big difference against evil. The connection between the Western film and the original Japanese movie shows how stories can cross cultures and be reimagined in different places and times, yet still keep their core message of bravery and justice. This lineage from Seven Samurai to The Magnificent Seven highlights how classic tales can evolve and inspire many generations of filmmakers and audiences alike. Although Hollywood decided to change the setting of the film from its original context, it preserved the core idea of the story. The film was set in the Old West, a time and place often associated with cowboys, towns, and outlaws. Instead of focusing on the original story, Hollywood transformed the bandits into a group of Mexican villains. This change was part of the movie's adaptation process that aimed to fit the story into a new cultural context. Despite these modifications, the basic plot remained quite similar to the original ideas. The story told about a group of brave men, known as the Magnificent Seven, who came together to protect a small village from brutal bandits. Over time, the 1960 movie gained recognition and is now viewed as a Western classic. However, when it was first released, critics did not welcome it warmly. Many film critics criticized the movie harshly, finding fault with its plot, direction, or performances. They did not see it as a successful remake at that time. Yet, as years passed, the film's reputation improved, and it became an important part of Hollywood's Western genre. Today, people regard it as a timeless film that influenced many others and remains popular among fans of Western movies. Its transformation from initial criticism to classic status shows how movies can grow in appreciation over time, despite their early reception. Initially, the movie The Magnificent Seven received very harsh reviews from critics and audiences alike. Many people thought the film would not be successful because it did not get good feedback when it was first released. At that time, most of the cast, including well-known actors like Steve McQueen, Charles Bronson, and James Coburn, were not yet famous or widely recognized stars. This meant that the movie did not draw a large audience in North America, and as a result, it did not perform well at the box office in the United States. The filmmakers decided to release the movie only in a limited market here, which meant it played in just a few theaters and did not reach many viewers. However, the movie's fate changed when it was released in Europe, where it was shown on a broader scale and was received much better. Europeans appreciated the film, and it gained popularity there, helping it earn more recognition and positive attention. After doing well in Europe, the film was brought back to the United States for a wider release, and this time the movie was more successful. Its improved reception and increased popularity in America showed that the film's reputation grew over time, even though its initial release was disappointing. This story demonstrates how a movie can find its audience later, after some time, and a wider release. Later in the 1980s, a popular television show emerged that was directly inspired by the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven. This show was called The A-Team, and its story closely mirrored the plot of the original film. Interestingly, the creator of the show has stated that the A-Team was simply a modern version of the Magnificent Seven, updating the cowboy adventure into a story about soldiers of fortune. In the movie, 7 gunmen work together to protect farmers from outlaws. In the television series, a team of 4 soldiers uses similar tactics to help people in need. A significant fact about the show is that James Coburn, who starred in the original 1960 film, was originally meant to play the role of John Hannibal Smith, the leader of the team. However, this role was eventually given to George Papar. The pilot episode of the A-Team is so much like the Magnificent Seven that it copies the plot almost exactly. In the episode, the team helps defend a group of farmers from bikers, and this story is very similar to the film's plot. Throughout the show's run, the producers emphasized that it was just a modern adaptation of the Magnificent Seven, but with a change from cowboys to soldiers, and from 7 characters to 4 main members. This connection shows how much the original movie influenced television, and how stories can be adapted across different media while keeping the core plot intact. The soundtrack of the 1960 movie, The Magnificent Seven, is highly regarded and considered one of the best scores ever produced in the film industry. It holds a special place in the history of film music because it perfectly captures the spirit of the Western genre. The music was created by Elmer Bernstein, a legendary composer known for his talent and influence in the world of cinema. Bernstein's compositions for this movie are memorable and distinct, helping to set the tone and atmosphere of the story. The score features powerful and stirring melodies that complement the action and drama on screen. Many fans and critics have praised Bernstein's work for its ability to evoke emotion and heighten the dramatic moments of the film. The soundtrack's themes are timeless, inspiring many other Western movies, and becoming instantly recognizable even today. Bernstein's use of music in The Magnificent Seven creates a sense of heroism, adventure, and camaraderie among the characters. His work on this film has contributed significantly to his reputation as one of the greatest film composers. The score remains a benchmark for Western soundtracks and has influenced countless composers and filmmakers. Overall, Bernstein's soundtrack for The Magnificent Seven is celebrated as a masterpiece of cinematic music, recognized for its excellence and enduring appeal. Before the recent release of the Denzel Washington version of The Magnificent Seven, there were 3 sequels based on the original 1960 film. The first sequel, titled Return of the Seven, was released in 1966 and brought back some of the original cast members. Then, in 1969, Guns of the Magnificent Seven was released, continuing the story with new action and character developments. Following that, in 1972, The Magnificent Seven ride hit theaters, featuring even more adventures for the legendary group. YUL BRYNNER, who starred as the leader of the group in the original film, returned for the first sequel, giving fans a familiar face. However, after that movie, the leadership was taken over by George Kennedy in Guns of the Magnificent Seven, and later in The Magnificent Seven ride, Lee Van Cleef stepped into the role. Over time, as Hollywood tried to revive the franchise, the remakes and subsequent movies began to make less money than the original film. These sequels and remakes struggled to attract audiences and failed to achieve the same success, indicating a decline in popularity each time a new version was released. Despite the diminishing profits, the legacy of the original 1960 film remains significant, inspiring future adaptations and keeping the story alive in movie history. Since its release in 1960, The Magnificent Seven has become more than just a classic Western film. It has established itself as a pioneer in movie franchise history. Along with the famous Planet of the Apes series, it is credited with being one of the first movies to generate a series of sequels that built a lasting franchise. This film's success proved that a story could extend beyond a single movie and create a popular series, which inspired many filmmakers to develop sequels and spin-offs. As a result, it set a standard for Hollywood movies that wanted to grow into franchises, rather than just standalone stories. Over the years, The Magnificent Seven has been broadcast many times on television, making it a household name. If someone has not seen it on TV, it might be because they are not watching enough television, because the 1960 version is the second most shown film in U.S. television history. Only The Wizard of Oz surpasses it in popularity on TV. This demonstrates just how much the movie has become a part of American culture, as repeated broadcasts keep it in the public eye. Its popularity on television shows that audiences continue to enjoy it decades after its original release, confirming its place as a timeless and influential film. Because of this ongoing presence, The Magnificent Seven remains a beloved classic, often revisited by viewers, and still a significant part of film history today. Since the release of the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven, there have been stories and claims about how the idea for the film was developed. According to actor Anthony Quinn, he was one of the original people who came up with the idea to make the movie. Quinn says he approached YUL Brynner with the concept, and they both agreed to work together on the project. Quinn claims that he would star in the film, and YUL Brynner would be the director. They then took steps to purchase the rights to the film using Brynner's production company. Quinn believes that their plan was to produce the film with a clear vision shared by both actors. However, years later, the rights to the movie changed hands when YUL Brynner's company sold them to another company. When this happened, the new company hired John Sturges to direct the film, with YUL Brynner still starring in the leading role. Quinn was very upset about this change because he believed he had been instrumental in creating the idea and original plans. He was so upset that he decided to sue, trying to claim his share of the rights and credit. But in the end, Quinn lost the lawsuit, and the film was produced under a different setup than he had initially envisioned. This disagreement over the film's origin and rights has remained part of the story around The Magnificent Seven, showing how creative ideas can sometimes lead to long-lasting disputes. Despite the legal outcome, the film became a classic and remains important in American Western cinema. The story of Quinn's claim highlights the complex nature of creative partnerships and how ownership of ideas can change over time, leading to conflicts even among those who helped conceive an iconic movie. When Steve McQueen was offered the role in the film The Magnificent Seven, he was very busy with his television series called Wanted Dead or Alive. Because of his contract with the TV show, he needed special permission from Dick Powell, who was in charge of CBS. Powell refused to let McQueen leave the TV show to work on the movie. Not willing to give up the opportunity, McQueen decided to take matters into his own hands. He deliberately got into a car accident by crashing the studio-rented Cadillac into a Bank of Boston building. After the accident, he returned to Los Angeles wearing a neck brace and claimed he had whiplash. McQueen told everyone that he couldn't do any more filming for his TV show until he recovered. Many people believed he was faking the injury to get out of his commitments. No one could prove otherwise, and rumors spread that he was pretending. Eventually, Powell and CBS agreed to let him go from his TV show duties so he could star in The Magnificent Seven. This clever move by McQueen allowed him to join the cast of the iconic film, which became famous for its action, characters, and thrilling story. His role in the movie remains one of his most remembered performances in Hollywood. Although it may appear that YUL Brynner and Steve McQueen were close friends while filming the movie The Magnificent Seven, the truth is much different. In reality, they disliked each other intensely, and their relationship was filled with tension that could have erupted into violence. Brynner, who was the biggest star in the cast at the time, felt overshadowed by the rising star McQueen. This insecurity led him to take dramatic steps to assert his dominance on the set. He hired an assistant to count McQueen's lines of dialogue specifically to monitor how much McQueen was speaking, which made Brynner feel more secure about his own importance. Additionally, to appear taller and more commanding during scenes, Brynner built small mounds of dirt for himself to stand on. When McQueen would notice these dirt mounds, he would deliberately knock them over with his cowboy boots, sometimes nearly leading to physical fights between the two actors. What makes this scenario even more unusual is that Brynner had a significant role in choosing the cast, and he had specifically pushed for Steve McQueen to be cast as the character Ventana. Later, Brynner came to regret this decision as their working relationship deteriorated further. The situation on set was tense and uncomfortable, with the actors' personal rivalry casting a shadow over the production. Their animosity was a secret behind the scenes, contrasting with the image of camaraderie often portrayed in films and publicity. Their conflict remained unresolved during filming, and it is a remarkable story about two major stars whose professional rivalry almost turned physical, showcasing how ego and insecurity can affect even the most successful actors. This feud learned that despite their fame and talent, they struggled with envy and insecurity, which ultimately impacted their work on The Magnificent Seven. First, Yul Brynner, the star of the film, actually got married during the filming of The Magnificent Seven, and they celebrated the wedding on set. Interestingly, the celebration included using many of the same props from the fiesta scene, creating a festive atmosphere that blended real life with the story. Meanwhile, director John Sturges faced a significant challenge related to the screenplay. The script mentioned that several of the seven gunmen would die, but it did not specify the order in which they would die. This lack of detail created a problem because the filmmakers wanted the death scenes to be clear and impactful. To solve this, Sturges decided to have the characters die in the order they were cast in the film. Originally, this order was Robert Vaughn as Lee, Brad Dexter as Harry Luck, Charles Bronson as Britt, and James Coburn as Britt. However, actor Robert Vaughn disagreed with dying first, feeling it would not be fitting for his character's story. Therefore, Sturges came up with a new plan to make the death scenes more dramatic. In the final version shown in the movie, the deaths were arranged to appear as follows: Harry Luck, played by Dexter, was shot while riding back into town to meet with the other six. Lee, played by Vaughn, was shot after he fought and killed 3 bandits who had taken hostages in a farmhouse. Britt, played by Coburn, was killed in a chest shot just as he was about to throw his knife. Lastly, O'Reilly, played by Charles Bronson, was wounded several times and ultimately died after being shot in the stomach while heroically trying to protect some children. This sequence of deaths added drama and emotion to the story, making the final scenes more memorable for viewers. Despite the fame of the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven, many viewers might not realize how little dialogue James Coburn and Robert Vaughn actually had in the film. It is rather amusing to note that James Coburn, who played the character Britt, only spoke 11 lines throughout the entire movie. Similarly, Robert Vaughn, who portrayed the role of Lee, had just 16 lines. This surprise gets even more interesting when considering the long-lasting friendship between the two actors. They were close friends for nearly 50 years, sharing a bond that extended well beyond their screen roles. Yet, The Magnificent Seven remains the only film where Coburn and Vaughn worked together professionally. Despite their few lines, both actors left a lasting impression on audiences with their strong presence and talent. Their friendship, which spanned decades, added an extra layer of meaning for fans who knew about their personal connection. This unique detail makes the film stand out, showing that sometimes less dialogue does not mean less importance or impact. It also highlights how two actors who shared a close friendship could bring their own chemistry to the film, even with minimal lines on screen. Throughout their careers, both Coburn and Vaughn appeared in many other films and television shows, but their work together on The Magnificent Seven remains a special chapter in their lives. Their friendship and the small number of lines they shared in the movie serve as a reminder that sometimes genuine connections and talent matter more than how many words are spoken. Their bond continued long after the film was made, proving that friendships formed on set can last a lifetime. Even with limited dialogue, Coburn and Vaughn's presence in the film added a subtle but important element to its success. Fans sometimes find it fascinating that two talented actors who knew each other so well had only one shared film, but managed to leave a lasting mark on the history of Western movies. Their story shows that real friendship and dedication to craft can transcend the lines in a script and create memorable performances. The fact that their only collaboration was the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven adds a special piece to both their careers and to the story of the film itself. It reminds viewers that behind every scene and every line, there are stories of friendship, loyalty, and shared experience that enrich the entire experience of cinema. First, it is interesting to note that a very young Gene Wilder auditioned for the role of Vin in the film. Although it might seem unusual, he was considered at a time when he was still early in his acting career, and his audition is a small but fascinating part of the film's history. For some reason, his involvement in this particular role does not quite fit the image we might have of him now, but it shows how opportunities and casting can change during the filmmaking process. The film was shot by the renowned cinematographer Charles Lang, who brought his skill and experience to the project. He used a 35mm anamorphic format, which allowed the filmmakers to capture wide, expansive images that added depth and richness to each scene. Panavision lenses were used to help achieve this high-quality look, making the visuals clear and sharp, while also giving the film a distinctive style. The location shooting for the movie began on March 1, 1960, in Mexico. The filmmakers constructed a small village and a U.S. border town specifically for the movie, which allowed them to create a believable setting that reflected the story's Western theme. These sets were built to give the film an authentic feel, and shooting on location added a realism that studio sets could not easily replicate. With a combination of Lang's cinematography, the choice of filming on location, and the construction of detailed sets, the movie gained a visual style that helped bring the story to life. Every shot was carefully planned to capture the atmosphere and mood of the Wild West, making the film more immersive for viewers. From the early days of production to the final scenes, the technical choices such as the anamorphic format and the use of Panavision lenses played a crucial role in shaping the film's look. This attention to detail in cinematography and location work contributed greatly to the film's lasting popularity and status as a classic Western. Overall, these aspects of production, along with the unexpected audition of a young Gene Wilder, add an interesting layer to the history of the film. The careful planning and talented work behind the scenes helped turn a simple story into a memorable cinematic experience. Many people have criticized the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven for how it portrayed Mexican peasants and bandits. One of the main concerns was that the film showed these characters in a way that some felt was not accurate or respectful. The characters led by the actor Eli Wallach, who was Jewish, were part of this criticism. During the filming, Mexican special interest groups were present to ensure the portrayal was more positive. They wanted the peasants to look cleaner, so they made sure that the characters wore clean clothes. The women were required to wear pretty dresses, and even the children had to have neat and stylish haircuts. These changes were made to present a better image of Mexican villagers in the film. To meet these demands, director John Sturges had to bring in a new scriptwriter to modify some scenes and change the sets so they looked more suitable for the new vision. Extra wardrobe staff and makeup artists were also brought in to help achieve this polished look. These adjustments were part of a larger effort to control how the audience would see the Mexican characters in the movie, aiming for a more favorable and appealing image. This led to ongoing discussions about how films shape public perception and whether such changes are necessary or if they misrepresent the real life of the people they depict. As we reach the end of our exploration of the Magnificent Seven's timeless story, prepare to uncover the intriguing fates of the cast members who brought this legendary film to life. There's more to this tale than just the screen appearances. Behind the scenes, each actor's journey took unexpected turns that shaped their futures in ways you might not imagine. From rising stars to unexpected twists in their careers, the cast stories reveal hidden layers of Hollywood's golden age. In our bonus segment, we'll delve into what happened to these talented performers after they stepped off the set, uncovering secrets, successes, and surprises that make their contributions even more fascinating. Stay tuned. What you're about to discover will add a new depth to your understanding of this iconic film and the lives it touched long after the cameras stopped rolling. Vladimir Sokolov's portrayal of the old man in the 1960 film, The Magnificent Seven, remains one of his most recognizable roles, embodying wisdom and quiet strength. His character acts as a moral anchor amidst chaos, offering subtle guidance and a sense of history that enriches the narrative. Sokolov's presence in this role demonstrated his ability to convey depth with minimal dialogue, a testament to his experience as an actor who often played supporting figures with lasting impact. Off-screen, Sokolov's career spanned decades, beginning in the silent film era and transitioning into sound films, often cast in roles depicting aged, wise characters. His life was shattered by hardship. He survived the turmoil of early 20th century Europe, fled revolution and war, which left scars not only on his psyche, but also limited opportunities later in America. Rumors hinted at personal struggles, including financial difficulties, and the emotional toll of a tumultuous career. Some sources suggest he faced accusations of political affiliations during the Red Scare, which hindered his work and reputation. After the 1960s, his appearances dwindled, and little is known about his final years, leaving a mysterious image of a man who endured great personal and professional upheaval. The last verified records indicate he lived quietly, far from the public eye, his true story remaining partially concealed. James Coburn's portrayal of Britt in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven left a lasting mark on American cinema. His character, a quiet, stoic gunslinger, exemplified cool detachment and understated strength. Coburn's presence was subtle yet powerful, embodying a rugged independence that resonated with audiences. This role cemented his place as a distinctive figure in Hollywood's Western genre, known for his calm intensity and commanding screen presence. Following the film's success, Coburn's career flourished, but his life was shadowed by personal struggles that revealed a darker side. He faced health issues, including battles with cancer later in life, which he fought with stoic resilience. His personal life was marred by rumors and allegations of misconduct, darkening his reputation in some circles, though he remained largely private about his personal hardships. Coburn experienced unsuccessful marriages and financial difficulties that added to the tumult behind his tough exterior. In his final years, he withdrew from the limelight, weathering physical and emotional pain largely alone. The last known information points to him living quietly in California until his death in 2002, leaving behind a legacy of complex talent shaped by a life filled with both achievement and adversity. Robert Vaughn's portrayal of Lee in the 1960 film, The Magnificent Seven, showcased his sharp intellect, calm demeanor, and commanding presence. His character was the strategic leader among a group of mercenaries protecting a Mexican village, embodying intelligence, discipline, and quiet strength. Vaughn's performance drew attention for its subtle intensity and controlled charisma, setting a tone of cool professionalism that contrasted with more brash heroes of the era. Beyond the screen, Vaughn's career was marked by a persistent quest for meaningful roles, often battling typecasting rooted in his suave intellectual persona. Despite early success, his life was fraught with personal hardships, including struggles with the darker sides of fame and the pressures of Hollywood. He faced scandals related to political controversy and faced financial difficulty at times, yet he remained resilient, turning to theater and television to revive his career. Vaughn experienced health issues later, including cancer diagnoses, which he fought privately. The last known information about him reveals a life of solitude and reflection, haunted by the shadows of past fame, yet still carrying the quiet dignity that defined his career. His death marked the end of an enigmatic journey through Hollywood's golden age, leaving behind a legacy of complex artistry and personal resilience. Eli Wallach's portrayal of Calvera in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven stands out as a dark, complex villain. Calvera is a ruthless bandit leader who preys on innocent villagers, embodying menace and moral ambiguity. Wallach's performance brought a sinister edge to the character, blending charisma with cruelty, making him one of the most memorable antagonists of the era. Beyond the film, Wallach's career spanned more than 6 decades, marked by a relentless pursuit of challenging roles. He often played dark, morally ambiguous characters, reflecting a life filled with personal hardships and resilience. Wallach faced significant obstacles in Hollywood, fighting against typecasting and anti-Semitic barriers, which delayed his rise and limited opportunities early on. He endured the loss of his sister to the Holocaust, an event that haunted him and shaped his worldview. Despite professional setbacks, Wallach persisted, refusing to be pigeonholed. He rejected the idea of retiring early, working into his 90s and gaining renewed respect. A little-known fact reveals that Wallach was a passionate historian and preserved his Jewish heritage fiercely. His later years remained private, with few details of personal struggles emerging publicly, yet he reportedly faced financial difficulties after some career downturns. The last known information indicates that Wallach lived quietly in New York, passing away in 2014 at the age of 98. His life story remains a testament to resilience amid shadowed moments and old scars. Jim Davis portrayed the role of gunman at Boot Hill in the 1960 movie The Magnificent Seven, a character shrouded in dark symbolism and silent menace. His role was brief but impactful, embodying the unpredictable danger lurking in the frontier town, evoking the haunting presence of violence and lawlessness. Davis's portrayal contributed to the movie's intense atmosphere, subtly hinting at the chaos that true gunmen brought to the Old West, and leaving an eerie imprint on viewers. Beyond this role, Jim Davis's career was turbulent, marked by a series of personal hardships that shadowed his professional rise. He faced scandals involving allegations of misconduct that tarnished his reputation, although details remain murky and unverified. His life was riddled with hardships, including struggles with alcoholism and financial instability, which compromised his health and led to periods of isolation. Despite his brief stint in Hollywood, he rarely escaped the darker side of fame, often battling inner demons that threatened to overtake him. In his later years, Davis experienced significant health problems, which worsened after his retirement from acting. The last known information reports that he withdrew from public life long before his death, living quietly amidst the shadows of his past. His death was not widely reported, leaving many questions unanswered about his ultimate fate, adding a layer of tragic mystery. Some speculate that he succumbed to his struggles alone, in obscurity, his story ending as quietly as it had been lived. The full extent of his life remains incomplete, a haunting reminder of the fleeting nature of fame, and the darkness that can accompany it. Charles Bronson portrayed Bernardo O'Reilly in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven, embodying a rugged, silent strength that enhanced his dark, intense screen presence. O'Reilly was a character marked by a mysterious past, a tough fighter haunted by memories of violence and loss. Bronson's portrayal added a gritty authenticity that resonated with audiences, showcasing his ability to bring a brooding, stoic hero to life with minimal dialogue but intense presence. His career after the film was marked by a steady rise through Hollywood's ranks, often playing tough, anti-hero roles that matched his natural, gritty persona. Outside of acting, Bronson led a troubled life filled with personal hardships, including an early turbulent childhood marked by violence and instability, which shaped his rough image. His life was also marred by brushes with the law, including convictions for assault, which he later softened in the public eye with a more composed image. His marriage to actress Jill Ireland was a significant, but tragic part of his life, as she battled cancer for years before passing away, deeply impacting him. Widely known for his private nature, Bronson rarely spoke about his inner struggles, but remained a figure shrouded in mystery. The last reliable reports place him living a quiet life in California, distant from the Hollywood spotlight he once dominated. Despite his dark reputation and personal struggles, he left behind a legacy of intense performances and a compelling, enigmatic character. YUL Brynner's portrayal of Chris Larrabee Adams in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven marked a pivotal moment in his career, showcasing his commanding presence and intense screen presence. His character embodied strength, quiet resolve, and a sense of mystery, qualities Brynner brought vividly to life through his trademark bald head and deep voice. This role elevated Brynner from a stage actor to a Hollywood star, but it also exposed a man haunted by his past. Brynner's personal life was marked by hardships and scandals that shadowed his career. Born in Russia and raised in Asia, he faced early struggles including a turbulent childhood and a troubled love life, marred by multiple marriages and divorces. Rumors of extramarital affairs and tensions behind the scenes occasionally surfaced, hinting at a complex and tormented personality. Brynner was also secretly battling health issues. He had a serious case of leukemia, which he kept hidden even as it progressed. His appearance in The Magnificent Seven solidified his fame, yet behind the scenes, he grappled with physical pain and emotional scars from early trauma and personal loss. Brynner's life was ultimately defined by a relentless pursuit of perfection amidst inner chaos, leading to a solitary existence in later years. He passed away in 1985, but ongoing debates about his private struggles have kept his story intriguing and shadowy. As of now, the last known updates suggest Brynner remains an iconic figure whose dark, layered persona continues to captivate and mystify audiences. Steve McQueen's portrayal of Vin Tanner in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven showcased his rugged, intense presence and silent strength. As a former drifter and skilled gunman, Tanner was the embodiment of cool detachment and quiet resolve, qualities that McQueen brought to life with subtle authority. This role cemented his reputation as a leading man in Hollywood's Western genre. Off-screen, McQueen's life was marked by a restless pursuit of freedom and an underlying darkness. His career was marred by reported scandals, including tumultuous marriages and accusations of infidelity, which fueled his reputation as a complex and troubled figure. McQueen's personal hardships were intensified by his struggles with health issues, including a nearly fatal lung disorder that was kept secret from the public for years. His desire for control extended beyond film, as he was known for his perfectionism and obsession with authenticity, often performing his own stunts and risking his safety. In his later years, McQueen battled cancer privately, which ultimately led to his death in 1980 at the age of 50. The most recent information reveals that his legacy endures as a symbol of both Hollywood's gritty era and the mysterious depths behind his charismatic exterior. Brad Dexter portrayed Harry Luck in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven, a role that defined him as a character of quiet strength and moral complexity. Luck was a gambler and a man of dubious reputation, yet he showed resilience and a sense of justice that transcended his questionable past. Dexter's performance brought a gritty realism to the character, highlighting internal conflicts and a desire for redemption. After the film's success, Dexter's career took a different turn. He struggled with typecasting, often cast in small or unimportant roles, and never achieving the same level of fame as his co-stars. His life outside Hollywood was tinged with darker shadows. Rumors circulated about financial troubles and personal hardships, including allegations of shady business deals and unsettled debts that haunted him for years. He experienced a series of failed marriages that added to his loneliness, and some reports suggest he was emotionally scarred by the industry's harsh realities. Dexter's later years were marked by quiet withdrawal from the limelight, retreating into private life in Los Angeles. The last available information indicates he passed away in 200. Dexter maintained a persona of mystery until the end, with little public mention of his final days or struggles. His life remains a testament to the complex, and often hidden, costs of Hollywood fame. In the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven, Victor French portrayed a role that, though minor, carried a subtle weight that hinted at his future talent. He played a front office clerk, a character who reflected the quiet dignity and unspoken complexity of many individuals behind the scenes in Hollywood. While the role was limited, French's performance demonstrated an ability to imbue even small parts with a sense of authenticity, foreshadowing the depth he would later bring to larger characters. Beyond this early work, French's career was marked by a persistent struggle against the darker sides of Hollywood. He faced multiple personal hardships, including battles with serious health issues, substance abuse, and the emotional toll of navigating an industry notorious for its harshness. Rumors of scandals shadowed his reputation, suggesting turbulent relationships and periods of personal instability, though concrete details remain scarce. His life was marred by moments of regret, loneliness, and a continual quest for acceptance. In his later years, French sought solace in acting and directing, yet his health rapidly declined. The last known information states that he faced a series of health crises culminating in his untimely death in 1989. His final days remain shrouded in mystery, with the true extent of his inner suffering only hinted at by those closest to him. Despite the hardships, his legacy endures, a testament to a man who fought his demons in silence. Val Avery portrayed Henry in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven, a role that demanded a presence both gritty and layered. His character was a subtle yet pivotal figure, embodying the hardened spirit of a man shaped by hardship and moral ambiguity. Avery's performance drew attention for its quiet intensity and realism, showcasing his ability to bring depth to even minor characters within a chaotic, violent world. This role established him as a skilled character actor capable of conveying complex emotions with minimal dialogue. Following The Magnificent Seven, Avery's career traversed a wide range of films and television shows, often cast in roles that reflected his tough, weathered persona. Despite notable success, Avery's life was marked by personal struggles that shadowed his professional achievements. He faced legal troubles in the 1970s, including a scandal involving allegations of misconduct that tarnished his reputation and caused friction within the entertainment industry. These incidents contributed to periods of professional decline and social isolation. Personal hardships persisted, including battles with alcoholism that affected his work and relationships over the years. Avery's life was also shaped by the darker aspects of fame and aging, with some reports suggesting strained family ties and financial difficulties late in life. His health declined over the decades, and he withdrew from the public eye as his career waned. The last known information places Avery in relative obscurity, living quietly in later years, away from the Hollywood spotlight. His death was not widely reported, leaving many details about his final days veiled in mystery. What remains clear is that Val Avery's legacy is a testament to the complexity of life behind the persona of a seasoned actor who endured and persisted amid personal and professional adversity. Horace Buchholz's portrayal of Chico in the 1960 film The Magnificent Seven showcased his talent as a young actor capable of embodying complex characters. Chico was the charismatic, street-smart member of the group, often providing a lighter, more cunning contrast to the others. Buchholz's performance was notable for its intensity and depth, revealing a man torn between innocence and hardship. This role launched him into international fame and opened doors to Hollywood, where he became known for his striking looks and magnetic presence. However, Buchholz's career was marred by personal struggles and scandals that cast shadows over his professional achievements. Rumors circulated about substance abuse and encounters with the darker side of fame, which reportedly strained his personal life and credibility. His life was marked by heartbreaks, failed relationships, and the burden of early stardom that he found difficult to escape. Later years brought a quieter existence, often away from the public eye, with limited acting roles and personal reflection. The last known information about Buchholz indicates he remained a mysterious figure, rarely making public appearances and avoiding the limelight. His legacy endures as a talented actor whose life was intertwined with both artistic brilliance and personal turmoil. The Magnificent Seven remains a timeless film that captured the spirit of heroism and teamwork. Released in 1960, it was inspired by the Japanese film Seven Samurai and became a classic Western that still inspires viewers today. The stars of the film, including YUL, Steve McQueen, and Charles Bronson, went on to have remarkable careers and faced significant challenges along the way. YUL became famous for his distinctive look and later fought health issues related to his career. Steve McQueen became a Hollywood icon but struggled with personal and professional pressures. Charles Bronson built a reputation for tough roles but faced typecasting early on. This movie's success helped shape their futures but also brought struggles behind the scenes. For many, this film is a nostalgic reminder of classic westerns, inspiring generations of movie fans. Did you watch this film as a child? Do you have memories connected to it or the stars? We'd love to hear your stories. Please comment below and share your memories of the film or how it influenced